So I'm worried that my relationship with my father will not exist anymore.
I'm gonna be moving in a couple of weeks.
I got a bit of a nostalgic heart, and it's a little broken.
I just wish you would go.
There's days when I just want to scream. No, this is not the way it was supposed to go.
Robin's behavior was problematic from the start. Rewatching the show from season 1, it's striking how she framed her urgency to integrate her kids into Kody's family. She insisted to the other wives that it had to happen quickly because Dayton would turn 13 in a year, and at that point, a judge might let him decide where he wanted to live. The way she told it, you'd think all 3 of her kids would sprint to their father's house, never to be seen again if she didn't lock things down immediately. In reality, while a judge might consider Dayton's opinion once he was a teenager, that wouldn't be the only factor in custody decisions. The girls, for example, would almost certainly stay with Robin, but her dramatics made it seem like this was a life-or-death timeline, and she used this argument to demand more of Kody's time at her house to ensure he bonded with her kids. It's baffling that the original 3 wives didn't push back on this logic. If integrating her kids into the family was such a high priority, wouldn't Robin have leaned on Christine to babysit them more often so they could spend as much time as possible with their new siblings? Hiring a nanny only served to isolate her kids further, making the supposed integration even less likely. Her actions made it clear that this was never about blending the families. It was about monopolizing Kody and keeping him focused on her household. And let's not forget the absurdity of Robin lamenting her kids feeling disconnected while simultaneously hiring a nanny. The irony is almost too much. The other kids were close because they were actually raised together as siblings, sharing experiences, space, and memories. That sense of unity wasn't magic. It was the result of the original wives and Kody fostering a collective family environment. Ultimately, the blame lies squarely with Robin, her choices, and yes, even her infamous fridge signs. Her victim mentality and lack of self-awareness created the very distance she claimed to fear. We've got so much to dive into today, so let's not waste any time. Let's jump straight into it. Hey everyone, what's up? It's Elena here, and welcome back to my channel Reality Nexus X. It's a valid question to wonder why Aurora and Brianna are absent from so many family events like Gwen's bridal shower and Mykelti's baby shower. If they weren't there, was it their choice? Robin's? Something logistical like school or other commitments? It's hard not to notice their absence when these are big milestones, and it feels even stranger considering Robin's repeated claims about wanting her kids to feel included and accepted by the larger family. When I was in my 20s, family events like showers and parties were a given. Spending time with cousins of a similar age at life events brought everyone closer. So, Robin's kids skipping these occasions doesn't line up with her narrative of wanting her family to be fully integrated. If anything, it makes the rift wider. Tommy's comment about it not being safe feels vague and more like a deflection. Mykelti's speculation about alcohol being a factor seems more plausible, but it still raises questions. If the rest of the family is attending, and it's just a bridal shower or baby celebration, why wouldn't they come, even if it meant skipping the alcohol portion? It seems like Robin is the one creating the divide by not encouraging or facilitating her kids' attendance. This pattern stretches beyond showers and parties. Robin's kids also didn't show up to Garrison's National Guard Memorial, a significant and respectful event that had nothing to do with alcohol or parties. Their absence there, too, feels glaring and, frankly, disrespectful. The alienation seems to have deepened after incidents like the infamous Christmas gift text chain, where Aurora's anxiety and sensitivity might have been triggered by misinterpreted comments. However, Robin and Kody likely play a role in this. With Kody's obsession with loyalty and Robin's tendency to frame herself as the victim, it's not hard to imagine them bad-mouthing the OG kids and moms. This could easily create an us versus them mentality in Robin's household, pressuring her kids to take sides. That kind of environment can't be easy for anyone, let alone teenagers or young adults trying to find their footing in such a complicated family dynamic. In the end, Robin claims her kids are excluded, but her actions, keeping them away from family events and seemingly discouraging connections, speak volumes. If she truly wanted her kids to feel included, she'd make an effort to bridge the gap, not widen it. Rewatching season 18 with a critical eye, it becomes glaringly obvious that Robin's "I speak Kody" mantra isn't just an annoying quirk. It's a calculated method of control. Christine and Janelle rightly took issue with her claim, given they had far more years of marriage and experience with Kody than Robin. But Janelle's comment hit hardest. Robin didn't just wield this phrase with the wives. She even inserted herself into conversations with the adult children, positioning herself as the translator of all things Kody. That's not just meddling, that's next-level manipulation. Take Mary's conversation about moving her clothing business to her B&B. Before even talking to Kody, Mary felt compelled to loop in Robin, who insisted on being present because, of course, she speaks Kody. Instead of being a supportive bystander, Robin essentially dictated the entire interaction. At one point, she flat out prompted Mary, "Tell him the rest, Mary, tell him the other part," as if Mary couldn't navigate her own marriage without Robin holding the reins. It's not subtle, it's controlling and unsettling. Then there's the Vegas personality test Christine mentioned during the tell-all. Christine, Janelle, and Mary all remembered taking it, and noted Robin's personality type thrived on drama, particularly involving others. Conveniently, Robin initially claimed to have no memory of the test, until Suki pointed out the OG3's shared recollection. Suddenly, Robin remembered, but she dismissed the results, claiming someone else must have taken the test for her. It's absurd deflection that tracks with her broader habit of rewriting history. This tendency was on full display during Ringgate. Christine revealed that Kody melted down Mary's wedding ring, a strikingly symbolic act, after meeting Robin. Mary provided specific details to back up the timeline. Yet when the story was presented to Robin, she immediately contradicted it, insisting Kody melted the ring before meeting her. The evidence? Season 1 shows Kody clearly wearing his ring up until the time he gave Robin her infamous string ring. Robin's version is not only convenient but probably false. Then there's the Ariella story in season 19. Kody claimed Robin insisted Ariella needed to feel her feelings when she clung to his leg and wouldn't let him leave. Yet Robin claimed she would never stop Kody from leaving. It's another example of her revising events to paint herself as accommodating and Kody as the source of tension. The pattern is undeniable. Robin systematically inserts herself into everyone's dynamics, collects personal information under the guise of helping, and then twists it for her own benefit. She rewrites history, contradicts herself, and gaslights anyone who calls her out. It's no wonder Christine and Mary eventually saw her for what she truly is, a backstabbing mistress who exploited their trust and further isolated them from Kody. How did Janelle, the so-called financially savvy one, end up in this mess? K and R obviously are living the dream, screwing everyone over and walking away with a $2 million mansion. Mary, at least, can say she was one of the lucky few who actually made money off llying. I think at her peak, she was raking in $70,000 a month. Not that she cares about recouping her losses from CP, she's too busy asking Kody to drive the moving truck. She's clearly living her best life in extravagant houses and doesn't have to worry about anything. Christine, bless her, at least got some equity out of selling her house. Now she's remarried, and her new husband's income doesn't hurt either. They've even been looking at decently nice houses together. And then there's Janelle, who seems to have a knack for hopping from one terrible living situation to the next. With nothing to show for over a decade on TV, she can't even start her flower business without first selling merch. Remember when she forked out money for Robin's mansion and didn't even bother to have her name on the deed? Not the mortgage, the deed. You know, just in case things went south. Genius move, Janelle. Make it make sense. Honestly, these people aren't exactly the sharpest tools in the shed, so if anyone's handling the taxes, they're probably considered the smart one of the group. Janelle's made some seriously bad financial decisions over the years, and Kody? He was her Achilles heel, selling her on every lie. They try to make Janelle out to be the financially savvy one, but in reality, she's just the least awful with money, and that's a pretty low bar. Her financial track record isn't great, to say the least. Signing on for MSWC, definitely one of her biggest blunders, and let's not forget the RV and the colossal truck they needed to haul it around. That might just be neck and neck with the first. In Are You Serious? Season 14, Episode 14, Kody and Miri sit down with Nancy for a therapy session, and instead of diving into any real work, Kody spends the first several minutes just blaming Miri for the state of their relationship. First, it's her fault because she misses what they used to have, and apparently they can't go back to that old dynamic. Then he calls her too sensitive because, of course, that's a classic cop-out. And the cherry on top, he actually questions, why does she have so many friends? Seriously, Kody? Finally, Nancy dares to ask if they're willing to really confront each other and go deeper. Kody's response? After the last year and a half I've had, I'm not up for any criticism. Nancy, visibly shocked, asks, Are you serious? And that look on her face? Priceless. It's a textbook example of Kody's mindset for God knows how long. He's never up for criticism. Ever. This moment is a shining example of why men in polygamous relationships often come off as total douches. The women do everything: housework, jobs outside the home, raising kids, lawn care, and the men, like Kody, just swoop in on their metaphorical white horses, playing hero and king while avoiding all the tough stuff. The women are left to shoulder the emotional burden, trying to earn their husband's love or being blamed when it's not there. Kody doesn't take accountability for anything, and he certainly can't handle criticism. Frankly, in my most humble and totally correct opinion, he's an asshole. And then people wonder why their therapy sessions with Nancy didn't get anywhere. On one side, you have Kody, who immediately goes on the defensive, convinced that therapy is just a 4-on-1 battle against him. As we saw in this session, he even refuses to participate at all. It's pretty hard to fix 4 marriages when the husband's either not participating, defensive, or downright annoyed in every session. It's the same with the women. Their strained relationships with each other don't just cause issues between them. They spill into their marriages and the entire family dynamic. But none of them are willing to dig deep enough to address it. They just scratch the surface, never going beyond that. The best therapist in the world can't work miracles. Real progress requires each person to be invested in reflecting, compromising, and taking accountability. But the Browns just weren't. Kody seemed to think that showing up was enough, and that's about it. Nancy definitely gets a bad rap for their lack of progress, but let's be real, until the Browns decide to put in the work, therapy's never going to fix their mess. This situation is as infuriating as it is messy, so let's unpack the tangled web of finances that seems to follow Kody and Robin like a shadow. The family pot was originally designed as a way to ensure equality among the kids, no matter which mom they came from. Everyone contributed, and the idea was that all assets would be divided evenly. Enter Robin and Kody, and suddenly that idea morphed into something very different. Now, according to Robin, each mom's biological kids will inherit from their respective moms. This revelation left Janelle shocked and everyone else furious. Equality, it seems, is no longer the goal. When the family moved to Vegas, the money from the sales of Mary's and Janelle's houses somehow went toward funding Robin's McMansion. Convenient, right? Everyone chips in, but Robin reaps the reward. And let's not forget the Lehigh house sale. Where did that money go? No one seems to know, but there's speculation that Janelle used an inheritance to pay the down payment for that house. Then there's the rumor that Janelle cashed out part of her retirement to help Robin clear her debt so she could qualify for financing on her house. If that's true, it's a sacrifice few would make for their closest family, let alone for someone who seems to treat the family pot like her personal piggy bank. And then there's Robin's excuse. It's too complicated to figure out where the money went. Numbers are apparently just too hard to sort through, so why bother? Of course, a forensic accountant could probably unravel it all in record time, but the likelihood of Robin and Kody cooperating with that idea seems slim to none. Adjusting for inflation adds another layer of frustration. The money Janelle, Mary, and others contributed back then would be worth significantly more today. Their sacrifices didn't just help the family at the time. They would have secured futures that now look increasingly uncertain. In the end, it seems clear that Robin and Kody owe the other wives not just financially, but emotionally and morally as well. Unfortunately, based on their track record, it's unlikely anyone will see a penny or an apology. I'm experiencing a whole roller coaster of emotions watching the dynamic with Mary and the B&B. At first, she seemed really off when talking about it, almost awkward, but I get the sense she was trying to be open about it. It just didn't come across well. Now though, she's gone ahead and bought the B&B on her own. And suddenly, the entire family is upset that she didn't tell them beforehand. I'm starting to get really annoyed by everyone, especially Robin. Seriously, she lost sleep over this? Why does she always have to play the victim? The family told Mary they couldn't help her, so she took matters into her own hands and handled things herself. And now it's a problem. It feels like no matter what Mary does, it's wrong. Every time the B&B comes up, it's her versus the rest of the family, and I honestly feel bad for her. This could have been a moment for her to feel proud of taking control of her own life, but instead, it's turned into yet another conflict. Honestly, at this point, Mary should have just walked away from the family. It's clear that no matter what she does, they're never going to support her fully. So I've been binge watching the early seasons of Sister Wives lately, and as much as it pains me to admit it, I think Kody might have had a point, at least when it comes to Christine not being cut out for polygamy, or at least this version of it. I can't speak for all polygamist families, but she definitely wasn't thriving in the one she joined. Christine strikes me as a bit a hopeless romantic. She wants to be the center of attention, adored and pampered. Basically, she's the type who dreams of being the apple of her husband's eye. And yeah, I get it, who doesn't want to feel special? But when your husband has multiple wives, is it really realistic to expect to have all of his affection focused on you? Especially when, throughout the seasons, she's been the one to freak out the most about Kody's attention being spread too thin. Whether it's him kissing Robin before they were even married, picking out her wedding dress, or spending more time with her than anyone else. Some of these reactions might have been over the top, but it didn't seem to bother Mary or Janelle as much as it bothered Christine. It just feels like Christine thrives on being adored, and that's understandable. Who doesn't want that? But in a polygamist family, that kind of one-on-one love is practically impossible. Even if Kody wasn't such a colossal jerk, I'm not sure she'd ever get the kind of love she wants. Just look at how openly affectionate she is with David now. That kind of PDA and connection? Not going to happen when you're one of 4 wives. Unless, of course, you're the favorite wife. But even then, I'm not sure it's the fairy tale she envisions. I think the problem lies in the fact that Christine was never really prepared for what she was walking into. We never got to see the full story of how she was brought into the family. Janelle and Mary had their own jealousy struggles, but at some point, Janelle figured out that by calling Christine a princess, she could get on Kody's good side. But when Robin came into the picture, That's when Christine realized she never got the honeymoon phase with Kody that the other wives seemed to have had. She was brought in to balance the existing turmoil, but instead, she just became another cog in the machine. And then there's the mocking. Kody mocked her when she simply asked for a compliment. This whole family was painfully aware of how much time Kody was investing in Robyn. But instead of being upfront, everyone just tried to keep sweet. Christine, however, was always the truth teller, and let's be real, she had every right to be frustrated. I really hate how people act like Christine was being unreasonable by wanting to see her husband more than twice a year or asking for a little affection. And don't even get me started on the basement thing. Being left alone with a dozen kids isn't exactly a dream scenario for anyone. It's wild how low the bar is set for these women. In the end, I don't think polygamy is for everyone, and honestly, I think very few people are truly suited for it. So let's stop pretending like Christine's frustrations are some massive character flaw. It's just not realistic for someone who wants to feel like the center of their partner's world. The women who say they don't mind it, I have a feeling they're just acting. So Kody sits down with Janelle and says he wants to start a love affair with her because apparently that's a totally normal way to describe a relationship. Then he casually suggests that Janelle should build on the property. But in his confessional, he adds that he and Robyn would prefer to move if Janelle's living next door. Like really? When Christine left, Kody was all for her staying and even wanted her to build nearby. It's all so contradictory and just, oh, he drive me nuts. Kody's been clearly pining for Janelle this whole time. Honestly, I think sticking to just one woman and always having a kid in his bed just isn't giving him the freedom he craves. It's like he's constantly talking about needing to feed his beast, but all I see is someone who wants more without thinking about the consequences for anyone else. Honestly, one of the things that's been really bothering me in the new season is Kody's claim that he never loved the original 3 wives. He only married them out of necessity to get into heaven. Seriously? This guy spent 20 years with these women before Robyn even came into the picture, and during that time, he was clearly happier than he is now. He was furious when Christine and Janelle left, which to me shows that he actually cared about them. You don't get that angry and upset unless there's some real emotion there. But now, because it paints him in a bad light, he's pretending like he never loved them. That's just total BS. You don't marry 3 women and claim to have no love for any of them. Why even bother with all that if you don't love them? It just seems like an exhausting, joyless life to live in loveless marriages. What also blows my mind is Robyn's sense of security. How can she feel so secure in her relationship with Kody, especially after she's been so instrumental in manipulating and dismantling the family from within? If Kody can turn on women he's been with for 25 to 30 years, what's to stop him from doing the same to Robyn if she steps out of line? It doesn't add up. And seriously, Kody just doesn't seem to get how bad it makes him look to say he never loved the women he spiritually married, vowed to love forever, and had numerous children with. How does he not understand that being cruel to his kids' mothers and implying they were only there out of duty, while also neglecting his kids, is going to cause a massive rift in the family? It's infuriating. Bottom line, I'm just annoyed by all of it. Honestly, the question of what makes Robyn so special has been on my mind too. Kody clearly has a soft spot for her. He practically fawns over her, and it's so obvious that something about her makes him willing to tear his family apart like a block of cheese on a grater. So what's the deal? Well, I think we can rule out any grand romantic notions here. Kody's always claimed he loved the other wives in his own way, even if he's now trying to rewrite history to feed into some retroactive jealousy. But when it comes to Robyn, I think it's all about the way she strokes his ego and caters to his every need in a way that almost makes him feel like the king of the castle. In short, she knows exactly how to placate him and make him feel like the center of her world. She plays the supportive wife role to the extreme, subservient when it suits him, always ready to mommy him and boost his ego. In my opinion, it's her effort that makes her stand out. She works tirelessly to make him feel adored and respected, and to ensure he feels like a victim in this world that's always out to get him. She said in earlier seasons that she watched her own parents have a honeymoon experience for decades. So she essentially made her home into this safe place for Kody, one where he wouldn't have to face any of his flaws or shortcomings. By doing this, she kept the peace and kept him happy, which ultimately helped her win his favor over time. But let's be real, Robyn isn't that special. She's just really good at following the playbook for dealing with narcissists. She knows how to appeal to his fragile ego and keep him feeling validated. I think she probably expected the other wives to do the same, but they didn't. Instead of treating Kody like a customer to be catered to, they treated him like a husband, and that's where things started to go off the rails. I mean, Kody himself even admitted to Janelle that he wanted the same type of relationship with her that he has with Robyn. So even Kody doesn't think Robyn is all that special. He just loves the way she treats him, and he wants that same treatment from Janelle. It's not that Robyn is some magical, once-in-a-lifetime love. She's just really good at playing the role Kody wants. Let me know what you think in the comments. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel. I'll see you in the next video. Take care and much love to you all.